What's up, YouTube? Back with another video. I have a good topic for you guys that I came up with, and this is a topic to help people to protect their energy. But this topic of protecting your energy, it's not based off of anything, any kind of physical type of strategies or other type of crazy type of strategies that I've heard. This is more of a mind shift type of strategy. So it's kind of about shifting your mind on a certain perspective. So I believe a lot of times people have triggers that people would trigger them to feel certain types of ways. Now, I don't like using the word trigger because sometimes it has a negative connotation to it. So I believe that, there are these biological boundaries inside of every human being that allows them to feel safe inside of their environment. And when these triggers or these boundaries are crossed, it makes somebody feel uncomfortable. So this is what I want to talk about, because there are some people in this world that they're not aware of these biological, I would say, boundaries. And if I have time in this video, I'll go over these biological boundaries and what some examples of what they are. So when a person, trespasses or goes against your own biological boundary in this world, a lot of times we would absorb that energy, right? And how do we absorb this energy, right? A lot of times we don't understand how we absorb energy, but ways that we absorb energy can be like complaining about what this person has done, right? So especially when somebody has crossed that biological boundary, a lot of times we would complain about it. We would start ruminating about it, like, why would this person do this and why would they do that? Didn't they see what they were, doing? Another one can be kind of like finding a way to fix it, right? So an example of finding a way to fix it is kind of you taking an initiative to try to, whether it is you're trying to fix how you feel, or you kind of take it upon yourself to try to fix that other person in some type of way, right? And this is the strategy of where you have to understand that, I've heard this before, you have to observe instead of absorb. But you have to also, I don't think a lot of people teach people how to observe, right? Or how to shift your mind. So you have to understand that when somebody crosses that biological boundary, you have to understand that they crossed it. They crossed that boundary. So you have to understand that is their feelings, right? They own that feeling. That is their feeling, right? I don't care, a lot of people can have opinions about certain things. A lot of people can have opinions about, certain specific, oh, this is a personal trigger. There's this, there's that. But I believe that I'll go over it probably on another video if I have time, because I'm already 4 minutes in. But there are biological boundaries that every human has inside of them, right? Even animals know this. If you go to an animal, like say for instance, a biological boundary can be if another human comes in too much into your space. That's a biological boundary, right? You as a human, these are laws, right? These are, if you examine your soul, you will see that these are our codes and laws with inside of you. So if a human comes way too close into your bubble and you don't know them, that is a biological boundary that they are crossing. If you spent time with animals, you would see that I've spent time with different type of animals inside of nature. There are lots of animals that do not like you coming too close to them. They will, if they don't, if they're not feeling you, they would either one, run away, or two, they would kind of posture themselves. Even dogs do this. A lot of dogs too, if they don't like you, they can sense you from afar and they'll start barking at you from far, far away to be like, I'm coming this way and get away from my territory, right? So these are biological boundaries. These are just examples of biological boundaries that you need to understand. When somebody crosses it and they make you feel a certain type of way, that is not your feelings, that is their feelings to own, right? That's where this is where people have to train themselves to ground themselves in their emotional body, right? Because once you start to have cognitive awareness of these biological boundaries, what's right versus what's wrong, that's when you can start walking inside of your truth and you can start grounding yourself even more firmer, because you know what's right, right? You know what is wrong. And once you understand that, you can have the awareness to walk and be confident inside of that. And you can actually check people for that, right? Without feeling, sometimes, some people, like, say for instance, like these examples happen inside of the world all the time, right? Sometimes something may happen, quote unquote, by accident with some certain people, and you would go inside of your mind so many times to say like, oh no, that person did that by accident. But no, when you know what's right and wrong, and when you understand biological boundaries, and when you understand the codes and the laws of this universe, you have the authority to check that person. You can actually teach that person, right? And that's what actually happens on this journey. It's not more of a journey to, be prideful and, boast yourself around. A lot of times on this journey, you're gonna have to teach people how to treat other people, right? Because a lot of people don't know how to treat other people. So peace and love.